स्वामिन् नमस्ते नतलोकबन्धो कारुण्यसिन्धो पतितं भवाब्धौ मामुद्धरात्मीयकटाक्षदृष्ट्या ऋज्व्यातिकारुण्य सुधाभिवृष्ट्या स्वामिन् नमस्ते स्वामिन् नमस्ते स्वामिन् नमस्ते स्वामिन् नमस्ते। ज्ञानस्वरूपं निजभावयुक्तम् आनन्दमानन्दकरं प्रसन्नं योगीन्द्रमेड्यं भवरोगवैद्यं श्रीमद्गुरुं नित्यमहं नमामि श्रीमद्गुरुं नित्यमहं नमामि। नित्याय सत्याय चिदात्मकाय नव्याय भव्याय परात्पराय शुद्धाय बुद्धाय निरञ्जनाय नमोस्तु नित्यं गुरुशेखराय नमोस्तु नित्यं गुरुशेखराय नमोस्तु नित्यं गुरुशेखराय। जय गुरु जय गुरु जय गुरु। This morning, when I was thinking that I have the online class today, and I was thinking of the subject that I have been discussing for the last 2 sessions, I think, particularly last session, taking the 2 verses from Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, and the shlokas from Srimad Bhagavatam that I have been taking. I was remembering one song by Sadhak Ram Prasad. Devotional songs, Ram Prasad, Sadhak. He was a jnani, he was a self-realized person, completely surrendered to the Mother, the Divine Mother, and has composed many, many songs. And Sri Ramakrishna Dev also used to sing many of these songs, Swami Vivekananda. So the song is, I will say in Bengali first. If I had my voice all right, I would have sung. It's a beautiful song. It says, সকলি তোমার ইচ্ছা ইচ্ছাময়ী তারা তুমি তোমার কর্ম তুমি করো মা লোকে বলে করি আমি। O ইচ্ছাময়ী, O Divine Mother, you are the Divine Mother. You are the one who wishes everything for all the creatures of this world, by whose wish everything runs in this world. You are the Ichchamayi. Ichchamayi means wish. You wish, that is why we do. Shakoli tomar ichcha. O Divine Mother, everything is your wish alone. You are the one who has all the wishes, all the source of all the wishes. তোমার কর্ম তুমি করো মা. O Mother, Divine Mother, it's you who do all the work. You generate every work, and it is by your wish that all work is done. Loke bole kori ami. But people think, we think, that I am the doer. It's actually because of your wish that I'm able to do. But I'm so deluded that I feel that I am the doer. I am doing. You are the one with all blessings, grace that you can give to people. Panke baddho karo kori, pongure langao giri. If you wish, you will make an elephant get stuck in the slush. If you wish, you will make one lame person cross the mountain and hills. Kare dao ma brahmo pado, kare dao ma adhogoti. If you wish, to some you grace and give them the Brahmapada, the state of the Brahman. And when you do not wish, or you wish to give a very downtrodden state, lower state, you give that also. It is all because of your wish. Ami jantro, tumi jantri. I am the instrument, and you are the one who makes the instrument run, the engineer. Ami ghar, tumi gharoni. I am the house, and you are the master of the house. You run this house. Ami ratho, tumi rothi. I am the ratha, the chariot, and you are the charioteer. Jamon chalao temni choli. In whichever manner you make me run, you make me work, you make me active, I have to do that, and I do that. It is all your wish. We forget this. We forget this very simple fact that we belong to God. That it is because of God's wish, God's propulsion, God's sankalpa, what we'll do and we will not do. What activity will come to us and what will not. What will be the life of a person, good or bad. It is all His wish. But we forget that we belong to Him. And we constantly think that I am doing, I am this, I am that. I have been able to do so much of work. I have so much of name and fame, and we become proud. Why I said this? This is a very simple thing, but it is very difficult to remember. For all sadhakas, for all seekers, this is the one problem. What is our problem? That we are not able to remember this. We read, we listen, we get transported to higher dimensions when we read and listen, when we meditate, when we are at the feet of realized masters, listen very intently to their instructions. We love the spiritual practices, the spiritual path, and we want to remember also what spirituality tells us, to be natural, to be free, to feel peaceful always, to be fearless always, to feel unaffected always. We want to be that. But for becoming so, the wholesomeness with which the one-pointedness with which we should remember the spiritual knowledge, the words of wisdom, we are not able to. We are not able to remember this simple thing that we belong to God. Whenever we are in action, activity, in the midst of people, in the midst of our family, friends, etc., whether it is in the house or in the profession, very little time we will remember. Maybe when we are having some spiritual practice or some devotional practice, or we have gone to temples, sometimes we will remember, not always. So this is our problem. The problem which is common to everybody who is a seeker, who is a devotee, who wants to tread the spiritual path. So this happens to us. What is the problem? Lack of one-pointedness. Lack of one-pointedness, wholesomeness. What is wholesomeness? Wholesomeness is the lack of that mind which fully is thinking about either the self or Brahman or God. The mind which is not divided. The mind which is able to find God or Brahman in everything. There is no Bheda Buddhi. That is, whatever we do, whatever we think, wherever we feel that we are surrounded by that one consciousness. So our problem is, one, that we are not one-pointed. We want to become. Second, whatever we are listening, hearing, or reading, or reflecting upon, we are not able to retain the essence by which we will become one-pointed. Why is it happening? I think most of you, all of you are sincere seekers, and I am very, very sure that with time your seeking is increasing, your yearning is becoming deeper, you are getting more and more interest in spiritual pursuit. All that is happening. But still, there is a long way to become wholesome. Still, the retention is less. We are not able to retain. And why it is happening? We must think about it. Why does it happen? And when we think about it, we find that the mind remains scattered in everything else. Mostly, if we think of the spiritual knowledge or the spiritual concepts, or we think about the real identity that I am, all those things, we think for very little time. Rest of the time during our wakeful hours, we are thinking about other things. That is where our thoughts are more on other things, non-self, than on the self. As I'm saying this, are you going into and looking into your own minds and finding out where you are, where you stand? But I'm very sure you are progressing. So, the thoughts mostly are, if you go into it, you will find that because the mind is scattered, the thought is not one-pointed, you are mostly thinking about this or that or that. Your meditation is not satisfactory. When you sit for meditation, you do not feel a kind of purity, sublimity, divinity, auspiciousness throughout the day, throughout your wakeful hours. We may feel it when we sit for meditation maybe, or reading maybe, or chanting maybe, in front of our puja shrine maybe, or in the temple, but not always. So we are still away from it. In spite of knowing about Brahman, which is changeless, which is different from the body, we are unable to implement and imbibe the qualities of Brahman, imbibe them and bring it to our life, we find that we are not able to. And all these, if we go into it, we will find that it is because the mind is constantly thinking about what? I-ness and mindness. The scattering of the mind happens because of the strong I-ness. What is that I-ness? That I am the body, that gross body. And what is mine? Everything else which I think belongs to me. And because of this, thinking that I am this and there are other things, there develops desire to possess. What is desire? The desire is, what is desire? Desire is, very strong fondness for things which we feel that is different from me and I want to possess. And sometimes the desire will be not to face things which we don't like. But mostly it is what we like, and we have a strong fondness to possess. Thinking that the senses, they get into contact with the objects, those are separate from us, we like them, and we want to possess. And attachment comes when whatever we are possessing, we become so fond of it that we start clinging to them. We feel that we cannot stay without these things. This is what happens. And if we start thinking more and more, you will find that our thoughts are always around the family, children, house, wealth, property, name, fame, recognition, prestige, and all that. These are the thoughts. Only these will be the thoughts. We have to be very, very introspective. And so, whatever we read, write, or our spiritual practice, whatever knowledge we get, we have the knowledge of the self. We know the qualities of the self, the characteristics of the self, that the self is all-pervading, imperishable, changeless, it is undivided, unconditioned. All these we know. But it remains as a knowledge, separate from us. And just like any other knowledge, any other subject that we read and we learn and we master. How do we go about it? I have discussed it so many times. And we have seen that we have to get established in this thought that I am the self, the changeless self. Through what? Through our thoughts, speech, actions, interactions. And to do that, what we have to do? How will these thoughts be constantly there in the mind, or at least most of the time in the day? Only when the sattva guna increases. Only when the rajoguna and the tamoguna becomes less and less. And the sattva guna increases. What hinders this sattva guna to rise? Again, these thoughts of I and mine. The thoughts of possessiveness, the thoughts, the desires, ego, etc. Clinging, all these things. So, these are the things that are hindering us. And again I say, my dear children, this is an introduction. I think most of my talk, I gave this introduction so that this remains fresh in the mind. What is our aim? What are we doing? Why are we failing? What is hindering us? What are the obstacles? And what we should do to remove the obstacles. And today I say, as I have discussed in the previous session also, I am discussing that if we go into the thoughts, we will find the thoughts are only around ourselves. Either me, my body, mind, intelligence, my ideas, my ideas and ideals, my emotions, my sentiments, my tendencies. Our thoughts are around these. And also about the other objects which we consider to be ours. Kutumbeshu na sajjeta. We did once on that sloka, where in Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Krishna is telling Uddhava that, O Uddhava, that if you want to realize God, if you want to be liberated, you must not have attachment towards your family, wife, children, house, cattle, etc., etc. So some slokas we did. In that is your family, your whole day, your thought is regarding the family. Not always maybe about your family members, but how to keep them all right. For that you have to earn money. Or if you have earned money, how do you save them? How do you transfer them? Regarding this, the health of the people in your family, only regarding our house and family and our acquisitions, we are thinking. So, kutumbeshu na sajjeta. So, what has to be done? If our mind has to be free, calm, not agitated, not disturbed, we know very well, we have understood till now that the mind has to be very, very calm for the self to get revealed. So, not to have any disturbance, our disturbances come because of desire, because of clinging to what we think belongs to us. So, kutumba means family. Do not get attached to the family. Who is telling whom? Uddhava is being told by Sri Krishna. Not only Uddhava, every one of us is being told by Sri Krishna. And he also says that just looking after the family and maintaining the family, man is spending all his time. His whole life is getting degenerated, and he doesn't understand the very purpose of this life is getting defeated. He sees dukkha everywhere. We get some little happiness, but then again comes anxiety and unhappiness. Seeing all these things also, he remains a swakutumva ramaha. He remains the one who rejoices in his family only. He doesn't become dispassionate. He doesn't try for being liberated and becoming Atma Ramaha. So my dear children, these sentences you must remember. What? Kutumbeshu na sajjeta. Kutumba poshaya viyan nijayuhu. Na nirvidyate swakutumba ramaha. You should write it somewhere so that on and off, if you do not know Sanskrit, write the meaning in Hindi or English or whichever language you want. So that it comes to your mind, comes to under your eyes, at least some time of the day, and it wants you, makes some opportunity for you to introspect and see throughout the day where you attached, and were you attached to whom, for what, was it necessary, or were you simply a deluded person? Are you spending your time only in the thoughts of all these things, forgetting the real identity, forgetting Brahman. How much time you are giving for the thought of Brahman or the self, where all the thoughts regarding the family, essential, all these things have to be seen. So, Swakutumba Ramaha, Nirvidyate na Swakutumba Ramaha. And Srimad Bhagavatam, it tells us what we should do. Yes, it is telling us that don't be attached. Don't cling. Kutumbeshu na sajjeta na pramadyet kutumbyapi vipaschennashwaram pashyed adrishtam api drishtavat. So he says that a wise person will not get attached to the family. And for that, what he should do, in the very next one, I'll just repeat, Putra dharapta bandhunam sangama pantha sangamaha anudeham vyantete swapno nidranugo yatha. He says that just like in the dream we have, dream family, many things we may have, but when the dream is broken, we get up, we wake up, and the dream breaks. Then what happens? All those family people gone. But we don't feel sorry for it, we do not cry for thinking that why they have left or what will happen to me. Similarly, this waking our family, the family that we are seeing around us in our waking time, wakeful hours, we should think that this is also like dream, and do not get attached. As we do not get attached to the dream family, do not get attached to this, and think that we have met like travelers do while they are traveling. Maybe people have gone for sightseeing, some people, they will be together for some time, exchanging notes, or in the train, or in the bus, and after some time they will go their way. There is no attachment, there is no feeling of sorrow. Similarly, pantha sangamaha. Also he says, Krishna says, Uddhava, thinking like this, griheshu atithivad vasan. Be like a visitor, a guest in the house. Stay in your house, but never forget that your attitude should be like an atithi. I think something very strange when it is our house. I live in this house. We grow up in a house. We never feel that I am a guest in that house. And because we don't think so, we suffer. Suffer because of what? Because of attachment, sakti, and because of avishwanga. That is, we get so much identified with everything that if anything happens to any of the objects that I feel, this is mine, these belong to me, I feel that I am gone. So, Krishna is saying, develop this attitude, Uddhava, to become free of attachment, free of clinging, and free of attachment, you will feel liberated. If you are free of attachment and desires and possessiveness, you will be liberated. You will feel natural. Otherwise, we are always constricted. We are always afraid to lose the near and dear ones, lose what we like. We fear that if anything that we don't like, I have to face. So always we are under fear. So Krishna is telling Uddhava, my dear Uddhava, develop these attitudes of detachment, no clinging, no possessiveness. Develop. How will you develop? even though you are staying in the house, think that you are a visitor. Say a visitor, when he visits a house, he doesn't get involved in anything whatsoever of the house, good or bad. He always knows that the house is not his own. He always knows that he has to very soon leave the house. So Krishna is saying your attitude should be like this visitor. What? Don't get involved in anything. Outwardly do everything, whatever is necessary. Inwardly don't get involved, attached. Inwardly you should know that you belong to the Supreme, God alone. Change your attitude. Also, you should know that this house is not your own. You should have an attitude of aniketaha. In 12th chapter, Krishna tells Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita that, oh Arjuna, one should have this attitude of being aniketaha. That is, he doesn't have anything permanent as a dwelling place. He belongs everywhere, or you can say he belongs nowhere. Even staying in the house, one should feel that I do not belong to this house. This house doesn't belong to me. This house belongs to the earth, and the whole earth or universe belongs to God. The source is that Supreme. So everything that has gone into making this house also actually belongs there. All this kind of introspection is very necessary. How much time do we give for these introspections? We do not. We feel so secure in our houses. We feel so happy to have a big house. We feel so proud that we have so many things to decorate the house. This is our condition. And what is Krishna saying? Griheshu atithivad vasan. The atithi, if a visitor comes, a guest comes, we will make all arrangements for the guest. The guest may see many of the things, the decoration of the houses, whether the house is good or bad, whatever. He is not affected. He doesn't remember it. After his stay, he goes back to his own house. As long as he is staying there, he remembers his own house. Similarly, while we are staying in our house, we should remember our own house. Where is that? It's at the feet of the Supreme Lord. We have come from there by His wish. That is why I sang that song. Shakoli tomar ichha moi tara tumi. It is your wish alone, O Supreme. From you this whole universe has come up. You are sustaining everything and every creature. And in you it will dissolve. Unnecessarily, deludedly, ignorantly, we feel that I have done, I am doing, I am enjoying, I am suffering, that I comes in. Because we get identified wrongly with this body, mind and intelligence. And whatever changes come in the body, mind and intelligence and ego, we also feel happiness and unhappiness accordingly. So the visitor, the guest, he remembers this house is not his own. He remembers he has to leave. We also should remember, while living in the house, why are we affected? We are affected because anything bad happens, anybody dies, anybody falls sick, how much we are affected. It is only because whosoever we consider is mine, we get affected because of them. Remaining in the house, we should also think one day we have to leave. Now who will leave when? Who will leave first? Nobody knows. Generally, it is the rule of nature that the older people will go first. But it happens, the younger ones go first. So, we must have this kind of attitude. Do not escape these truths. Remember them, introspect on them, and be facing these facts and remembering these things. Let us live in our houses. This is what Krishna is saying. Itham parimrshan muktaha griheshu atithivad vasan na grihair anuvadhyeta nirmamaha nirahankritaha. And thinking like this, remain in the house without any ego and without any possessiveness. When does possessiveness come? Because I think that this is my son, this is my daughter, this is my house, this is my furniture, or this is my car, or anything related. These are my qualifications. So this is what we feel. So it says that do not have any possessiveness, neither on the objects that you feel are yours. It can be objects, it can be persons, it can be places, it can be ideas, it can be ideals, views, many things, everything. We actually hold on to everything. You just think. The ideas that we have for anything and everything, we hold on to them. And that is why we argue with each other if the ideas do not match. So this is how we become very, very possessive. Karmabhir grihamedhaihi ishtva mameva bhaktiman tishthed vanam vyopavishet prajavan va paribrajet. So also Krishna said that be devoted to me, and with devotion, remaining in the house, you can remain. Having this kind of thought that you are a visitor, that you are meeting all the people in the house just like as you meet the travelers. Also, that as in the dream life you have a family, this is also a dream, and you have this family at this time. Having this kind of attitude, you can remain in the house, doing all the things that has to be done for the family, but considering them as an offering to me. That is, remember me and live. Remember me and live. What did Krishna said? Ma manusmara yudhyacha. It is saying that remember me and live your life. What we do is that we forget him and live our life. Always forgetting. We'll remember our wife, husband, children, parents, friends, relatives, grandchildren, many other things. We don't remember God. We give very little time for God. A little, maybe 1 hour or 2 hours in a day. Rest of the time, we want to do other things. So this is what Krishna says. And then Krishna will say also, what are the things that you should do and how? Now, we'll go to those slokas. Before that, again let us come back. We started with what? Kutumbeshu na sajjeta. What is happening to us? We are getting attached to the family. Putra dara grihadishu. We are getting attached. Why? Because of desire. What is a desire? Very intense fondness for whatever we do not have to possess that. And what is attachment? When we have something, we become so fond of it We do not want to lose it, and we cling to them. You know, in Vedanta, there are three kinds of desires: putraishana, vittaishana, and lokaishana. What is putraishana? Desire to have children, progeny. So this, everybody has that feeling. Everybody, whether they are rich or poor, wherever they are in this world, even the animals. So putraishana, desire to have children, and then expectation from the children that, suppose you got a child, the desire becomes all the more. How? You have desired a child, and maybe God has given you, blessed you with a child. Then what happens? Your clinging becomes all the more. Your desires become all the more. Expectations become all the more. From the children, then, the expectation from the children then starts. As long as the children were not there, expectation from children is not there. When they are there, what are the expectations? Children should listen to my word, what I say, my advice. Or children should be very well educated and get settled. Or children should treat me well, respect me. Children, when I grow old, should look after me. All these are expectations. So from one desire, now so many desires have come. So putraishana, vittaishana. You are understanding how one gets caught up and how we can get out of it. That also God has said. Sri Krishna has said that. So putraishana, vittaishana. Now vittaishana, everybody would want to have wealth and property. When wealth and property is there, what is there? We will think how to save this money, how it should not be robbed by anybody, or I should not be cheated, how it can be grown, what all luxury and comfort I can have through this, how I can save it so that my children will feel secure. Thoughts and expectations regarding this. And lokaishana. Lokaishana, to do charity, give to people, feel very proud about it, all those things happen. In Vivekachudamani, Shankaracharya has said, in a different manner, Deha Vasana, Loka Vasana, and Shastra Vasana. We have done this. What is Deha Vasana? That's I-ness, my body, mind, intelligence. And constantly thinking about that body. Suppose the body. The body has to be preserved, but we cannot be unduly thinking about it. We do. Body becoming a little bit sick. We are so afraid, so anxious. We think of the worst. And how one can be healthy, various ways. How one can look beautiful, various ways. How we can dress very well, all those thoughts. How we can look very pleasant in the eyes of others, all those thoughts. And the mind has so many thoughts, so many sentiments, so many emotions, so many tendencies. And we hold on to that, our ideas. And we do not want to leave those at all. And intelligence, we have got our decisions, our various kinds of ideas, resolves, and we also stick to them. We are not able to leave them. Then Loka Vasana is the same as Lokaishana. Shastra Vasana, that is another Vasana. Especially for spiritual people, this is something which is an obstacle. The Deha Vasana in Shankaracharya and Vivekachudamani says that these are the obstacles. Deha Vasana, Loka Vasana and Shastra Vasana. What is Shastra Vasana? Shastra Vasana is only reading, listening. Wherever there are lectures, go and listen. Whatever book you can, you read. But what these are saying, the essence of it gets lost. Writing notes, writing notes, writing notes. But what are you hearing? What are you reading? What are the things that you have noted? Practice should be more. Manana should be more. Dhyana should be more. Those get missed. So, why we are discussing this is, if we have to be devoid of attachment, all these we have to, look into ourselves. Look into ourselves, introspect each and every word, whether we have or not. Very simple way. Very simple way. Some time of the day, think about yourself. How we talked, how we behaved. Was I kind to people? Was I rough to people? Did I feel sensitive to people's needs? Did I give a little joy to somebody? All those things. We should evaluate ourselves. And then we will be finding where we are attached, where we are to improve ourselves. We will find a lot of improvement also. If we look back, we'll find that, oh, I have improved. That gives a lot of joy, a lot of encouragement. How did it give? Because we have introspected. So introspection is a must in a seeker's life, in a sadhak's life. I think I've become tired of telling this. Just reading, just listening will not do. It will give a temporary happiness, temporary knowledge, temporary feeling of enlightenment, enrichment. That temporary enrichment and enlightenment will not be retained. I started with this. We all suffer from this. What? Lack of one-pointedness, lack of wholesomeness, and lack of retention. For retention, we have to introspect constantly, very lovingly actually, with a lot of interest, with a lot of excitement. Because we are doing for what? We are not complaining about anybody else, not criticizing or finding fault with anybody else, blaming anybody. I am doing about myself. About myself. For what? To become purer. That is the aim. To remove all the dross, all the uncleanliness, and bring in fragrance of the Atma. Fragrance and beauty of the Atma. It will show up. When the uncleanliness is taken away, the fragrance will start radiating everywhere. The brilliance will radiate. This will happen. So that is why we should introspect. Now, how we do it? All this will be very easy, when we look at our life. Last time, in the last session, I took the 2 verses, asaktiranabhishvangaha putradara grihadishu and janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam. We are getting attached. And what is happening because of this attachment? Whatever happens to the other person, say children or wife or parents, when anything happens to them, we feel affected. The attachment is so much that we feel these are like my own self. As it will happen to me, any happiness or unhappiness, by the other's happiness and unhappiness, I get affected. Even thinking about one's own death, one will not be so very affected or afraid. But definitely we are not able to even think of the death of the near and dear ones. Many times we will say, if I die, it's okay, but let everybody else remain all right. Very good thought. So, these are the avishvanga. Anavishvanga we have to become. We must have asaktihi anavishvanga. That is, we should not have any attachment, and because of the attachment this avishvanga comes, we should not have it. How will it happen? We must look at, just like Krishna is telling, that thing that you have all come as travelers and you are staying together for some time. Or think that this is a dream family. Think that you are a guest in the family. With all these thoughts, constantly thinking like this, you will be able to remove your attachment to the near and dear ones. Also it says, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. Think of all the dukkhas that is associated with birth, death, jara is old age, all the dukkha, disease, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, that is birth, death, old age and disease. From these, constantly we are getting dukkha, unhappiness, sorrow, misery, whether it is mine, in my body or others. See, when there is old age, so as long as we have our health, we are young, we feel that we are on the top of the world. I can do this, I can do that. And we do not care. We become proud. But when old age comes, what happens? All the faculties will go. All the indriyas become weak. We will have difficulty in sitting, walking, lifting weight, bending, in everything. Hearing will be lost, vision will be lost slowly, all those will be weak, taste will go, memory will go. More than that, what happens is that when one becomes old and is not able to work as before, when the body is undergoing all these things, that all the limbs, all the indriyas, they have become weak, the greatest suffering comes in many people when they are not able to accept the situation. Many people are not able to accept the old age. They will constantly grumble and cry, oh, I could do this, I could do that, and now I am not able to do. So this non-acceptance, it gives a lot of suffering. And the feeling of unwantedness, feeling that the people around me are neglecting me, ignoring me, and the feeling of unwantedness. All these come along with jara, along with old age. So, dukkha doshanudarshanam. So, thinking, reflecting upon these states, that these constantly give us dukkha. What should be the result of it? If we reflect truly, properly, with enlightenment, our attachments will go. We will not give value to these so much as we give now. And meanwhile, we will be giving value to the Supreme, to whom we belong. If we have been reading, reflecting, meditating, singing bhajans, thinking of God, thinking of these truths again and again and reflecting them, that all these things are transitory, fleeting, will not remain. Only thing which is permanent is the Self, God, Brahman. When all these things we reflect again and again, think of the glory, the magnificence of the self, of Brahman, we will not be attached. Whatever attachment is there, that attachment will fall. But Krishna is not telling Uddhava that you should be neglecting your family. He doesn't say that. What does he say? He says that you should be doing everything for the family. Everything for the family. Everything that is necessary to be done. He first says, Raya kalatram pashavas sutadayo grihamahi kunjara kosha bhutayaha sarvetha kama kshanabhangurayushaha kurvanti martasya kiyat priyam chala Raya kalatram pashavah sutadayo grihamahi kunjara kosha bhutayaha sarvetha kama kshanabhangarayushaha kurvanti martasya kiyat priyam chala. So he is saying that you should not be attached. Kutumbeshu na sajjeta. Do not be attached. And he is telling that reflect upon these truths, that all these are fleeting. Reflect again and again, not once in a while, again and again, through your work, activities, thoughts, when you are speaking, discussing with others, reflect them. In this he says, Raya kalatram, Raya is wealth, kalatram, wife, pashavas sutadayaha, cattle's sons, that is children. There is wealth, wife, cattle's and children. Griha mahi, houses and lands, that is all that one has. All mine, it belongs to me. This is me and everything belongs to me. Everything. Even if one is a poor person, do not have so much of money, still this is there. I-ness and mineness. Even if it's a hut, one will feel it is mine. A few vessels, mine. One child or 5 children, mine. That mineness doesn't go. Raya kalatram pashavas sutadayaha griha mahi kunjara kosha bhutayaha. So griha is houses, mahi is land, kunjara is elephants, kosha bhutayaha. Kosha is treasury, where all the money is kept. Power. Many objects of enjoyment. Many things one has. Chalaha. They are there, no doubt. But they are what? Chalaha. Goes. Goes. Doesn't stay permanently. Fleeting. Transitory. Flickering. So Krishna is saying, think this. You don't want to think. You don't want to think. You want to turn away from this truth. You must think. If you think, if you reflect, what will happen? You will be open to the truth, and that will liberate you. Sarve arthakamaha. All the possessions that we have, all those are for our gratifications. Sense gratification. Sarve arthakamaha. But kshanabhangurayushaha martasya. For people, for man. So all these things which belong to a man, they are arthakamaha. It gives sensory pleasures, satisfaction. But they are flickering. They do not stay for always. Short-lived pleasures. And man who has this, what is he? Martyaha. What is Martyaha? he will die one day. He is not permanent. Shanabhanga Ayushaha, a man whose lifespan is short and uncertain. Shanabhangur Ayushaha Martasya. There's a man whose lifespan is short and is also uncertain. That is, not only short, when it will go we do not know. Even if it is short, suppose somebody lives only up to 30 years or 40 years, whether one will drop at the age of 10 or 20, 30 or 90, who knows? And uncertain. Kiyat priyam kurvanti, what real joy and pleasure will they give? So if we know the truth, that all these are flickering, fleeting, will not remain, so having all those things, what real joy one can have? What real joy one can have? If we start thinking like this, we understand that we feel that, oh, all these things are there, I am very secure, I am very happy, I have everything that I can get in life, I have lived everything very greatly. That doesn't mean anything. Our life will be fulfilled only when we look for that permanence and work for it. Rayah kalatram pashavah sutadayo grihamahi kunjara kosha bhutayah sarvertha kamaha kshanabhangurayushaha kurvanti martasya kiyat priyam chalaha. That is why these have to be read. When we read and reflect, detachment comes automatically. Because we do not reflect, we remain ignorant, we remain deluded. Dehe sthimam sarudhire abhimatim tyajatvam jaya sutadishu sada mamatam vimuncha pashyanisham jagadidam shanabhanganishtham vairagyaragarasiko bhavabhaktinishtaha dehe sthimam sarudhire abhimatim tyajatvam jaya sutadishu sada mamatam vimuncha pashyanisham jagadidam shanabhanganishtham vairagyaragarasiko bhavabhaktinishtaha. What is being said? Dehesthi mamsa rudhire abhimatim tyajatvam kutumbeshu na sajjeta. And asaktir anabhishvangaha putradara grihadishu. That wife, husband, children, parents, all those things, all the people whom we consider to be near and dear ones, all of them, they are made up of what? Their bodies are made up of? Deha is made of asthi, mamsa and rudhira, bones, flesh and blood. Abhimatim tyajatvam. Do not have attachment to all this, liking, fondness for this. From outside, the bodies are beautiful. But inside it is only the same thing, essentially. What? Bone, flesh and blood. Suppose we are walking and there is bone, flesh and blood. Will we like to look at that scene? Touch it even? Go near it? Not at all. All of us will run away. So, this shloka is saying that whomever you are feeling so beautiful, so nice, the children, very soft touch, know that and think that essentially these are these things, which if they are separately given to you, you will not like. So, abhimatim tyajatvam. Your fondness, you remove from that. Tyaja. Tyaja means renounce. Renounce your fondness to these, the bodies whom you like so much, you are fond of so much, whom you think your own. Actually, they are like this. They are consisting of these three things. So, your fondness, renounce. Jaya sutadishu sada mamatam vimuncha. Thinking like this, your mamata, your mindness, they are my own, they are my own. You know, that imaginary oneness, the infatuation, the deluded attachment, all those things. Mamatam, vimuncha. Your attachment, vimuncha, you leave aside, throw away. This is from Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is considered to be a devotional text, generating devotion in our minds. But it is saying very strongly, saying what? That, oh man, if you want to be liberated, if you want to feel free, if you want to grow in devotion and be united with God, then Dehestimam sarudhire abhimatim tyajatvam. Jaya sutadishu sada, with wife and children. Mamatam vimuncha. Cut asunder. Cut asunder. Cut mercilessly, you should cut your mamata. You be with them, do anything that is necessary, do. Why should we have mamata and suffer? Because we have mamata, we have abhishvanga. When they are suffering, we also suffer. Why? So, cut your mamata. Pashyanisham jagadidam kshanabhanga nishtam. Pashya anisham. Constantly look at this world. Idam jagat. Kshanabhanga nishtam. Every moment it is changing. Pashyanisham jagadidam kshanabhanga nishtam. So not only that, you should take away your mamata, take away your attachment, also look at this world constantly through introspection, through reflection, that this world itself is fleeting, transient, ephemeral. It is changing constantly. Every moment is changing. No two moments, adjacent moments are equal. And it will be constantly bringing dukkha and sukha, happiness and unhappiness, misery and delight. It is like this. But your nishtha, your fondness, your commitment, your dedication is to this world. Which world? Which is constantly changing. So, the Bhagavatam is saying, Pashyanisham jagadidam kshanabhanga nishtam vairagya ragarasiko bhava bhakti nishtha. Instead of that, in the first three lines, what is he saying? Leave, cut, remove, renounce. He's saying. So instead of that, we have left. So are we to remain empty? No. Vairagya ragarasiko bhava bhakti nishtha. Your nishtha, your dedication, your commitment, your focus, everything should be on devotion. Devotion to what? Detachment. Vairagya. And Vairagya is not just a dry Vairagya. Vairagya raga. Vairagya raga rasikaha. Rasikaha means one who enjoys. Enjoy the Vairagya raga. Let your mind, your mind was filled with mamata, You're filled with abhimati, filled with nishtha towards the world. These you have removed. In that place, let vairagya raga come. Detachment has come. And you become bhakti nishtha. Your nishtha now should be to vairagya, to bhakti, so that you become liberated. Dehe sthimam sarudhire abhimatim tyajatvam jaya sutadishu sada mamatam vimuncha pasyanisham jagadidam shanabhanganishtham vairagya ragarasiko bhava bhakti nishtha vairagya ragarasiko bhava bhakti nishtha. My dear children, one has to reflect upon these. The desire, attachment, possessiveness, clinging, they bind us so much. We become so deluded and we do not know how to get away from them. A young girl, she was wanting a child. She was not getting a child. A lot of treatments were done. Ultimately, a child has been born. The child has become a little, maybe about to be 3 years. How much the parents became happy, grateful to God, how much they are devoted, how much they are looking after the child, thinking that it is a gift of God. All that has happened. But the same mother now says, my mind is very, very depressed. Why? Because the job that I have got I don't like it. I should get a better job. So I laughed and laughed. I said, at one time, your whole focus was, I must get a child. And now you've got a beautiful child. Why are you looking for a job? Saying that this job is not good. Your whole focus should be to bring up the child in the best possible manner. Best possible manner. See, I think this kind of example is very, very common. One thing we want, once we get it, something else we want. As long as we want one particular thing, we feel that unless I get it, I will not live. My mind will not be peaceful. And after this, no more desire. And once that is obtained, again the mind comes with another desire. How will we get rid of these desires and clingings? Only this can be done. Reflect, reflect, reflect. Reflect and think the absolutely petty things that we are thinking about, unessentials. Think of that. All these reflections will take away, will loosen the bonds. And that most beautiful thought is that I belong to God. God belongs to me. He is the most surest refuge I can have. Remember it. Try to remember it as long as you can, most of the time of the day, as long as we are wakeful. And say, Jamon chalao temni choli. Tomar karmo tumi karo ma loke bole kori ami. It's all you are doing, foolishly, ignorantly, deludedly, I think that I am doing. So I want to be your instrument. I want to be that house where you are the master. You are making my house run, making my body run, making me do everything. And I am that chariot where you are the charioteer. As you wish, I will try to do everything according to you, your wish, for your pleasure. Okay. Sampurnam Jagadev Nandanavanam Sarvepi Kalpadrumaha Gangam Vari Samasta Vari Nivaha Punyas Samasta Kriyaha Vacha Prakrita Samskrita Shruti Shiro Varanasi Medini Sarvavasthitirasya Vastu Vishaya Drishti Parabrahmani Sarvavasthitirasya Vastu Vishaya Drishti Parabrahmani. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru.